Just two quick points one about love and the other about a point that Reverend Martin made. Love cannot be separated from truth. Any of us that have children know that to tell your child the truth about their behavior does not equate to I don't love you or I even hate you. I think love mandates that we speak truth regardless of if I receive it or not. And I think that is the position of the church to, again, lesbian community or homosexuals in general, is that there is a truth from God. There is a standard. There is a line drawn in the sand that God himself drew, and we are not to cross that line. I think that was demonstrated very vividly in the story of the woman who was caught in adultery. Jesus said that he did not condemn her, but his words to her were, go and sin no more. That's love and that's judgment and mercy all together. And I think we have to say the same thing. I don't condemn you for being homosexual, but you have to understand God's point of view, and you cannot continue in that lifestyle.
I believe that there is a place and a space for your ministry, Reverend Foster, for this ministry of overcoming or changing people for homosexuality. And I think it is a direct result of the homophobia, you know, that there is in America. I do think there's a place for you, but I don't think that you're supposed to be out here to change the 10% of the population that is homosexual. I think your calling is to deal with those people who, okay, I want to get out of this lifestyle, I want to change this lifestyle, but it's not to change her. It's not to change the other millions of people who are in that lifestyle and comfortable with who they are and who have not embraced the messages of homophobia that has been gleaned out of Scripture and imposed and preached to people.
Well, thank you for that word of affirmation. I do appreciate that. And I'm not here to change Reverend Martin or anybody who's comfortable. Again, I have been gay. I was in it for what it was, and I enjoyed being gay when I was. But when I came to that point to where I felt that my life needed to line up with Christ, I abandoned that. I let it go for him, not to please my mama, not to please my church, not to please anybody, but I felt that I wanted to please God. And there are plenty of people who have that same, and it has nothing to do with homophobia. And I think that's kind of narrow to say that, oh, people only want to change because of homophobia. I didn't want to change because of homophobia. I wanted to change because God wanted me.
I can look at my son. My son came to me when he was 21 years old and told me, Daddy, this is who I am. And I said, fine, okay. I kind of knew you were going to be this way, so that's fine. He did not have to try to change or anything. There was no homophobia in our home for him to, have to try to adjust himself and so forth. But he did hear the messages around, society that kind of, impacted or influenced him. But at the same time, he's very comfortable with who he is. And I'm saying homophobia has a terrible effect on our society, and we impose that because of our own fears.
And there is the concept of nature versus nurture. Some people are homosexual, been homosexual all their life. That's all we know who we are. But there are people who have made choices, and there are people who have undergone a period of abuse, and they found themselves in a particular place, and then they get to a point where they realize this is not really who I am. Perhaps that was your case, but there are a lot of people who are not that way. This is not who I am, but for some of us, this is all we know. This is who we are. So we want to be the best people, be the people that God created, and be the image of God in the world like we were created to be. And you're doing that for you because perhaps you were one of the people, it was a nurture thing, not a nature thing. And so,
Work it out, doctor.
I'm just saying.
Fix it. All right.
Just saying.
Yeah, I understand that, and I don't get into nurture-nature arguments. I get into what we have to have a very definitive. God said, put a difference between what is holy and what is unholy, and I believe that anything outside of His will, whether you are mag daddy with all the women or whether you mag daddy with all the men, if that is not what God's standard is for us in a sexual relationship, we are not to follow that path.
Dr. Martin, do you foresee a time when gays and lesbians will not feel the need to go off and establish their own churches?
I would love to see that time. Once we really learn to love one another and be inclusive and really be the realm of God, I believe at that time we'll all be able to worship together.
I'd like to thank all of you for joining me today. Thank you for joining us today on In Focus, Atlanta's only interfaith news magazine show. I'm David Ball. I'll see you soon.
you.